He never said that. He said, God, show me what you want me to do. Amen. Years later, that church has no debt. Wow. That church has been cleaned up. He's handing it over, and he's going back to Tampa, where he's lived the whole time and commuted 3 times a week over here. So he said, you know what? I'm going to step back. I'm going to do what God has called me to do. Now God just gave him the funds to go build a brand new building, a big steel building, and plant a new church in Tampa area. And bring his son up to help run it. His son was just ordained a bishop. He's now ready to help come run the church with him. And so why? Because he was obedient and stepped back and went through a not so fun season. A season where many times he didn't get a paycheck. A season where many times he was crying and praying with people in the middle of the night. A season that was turmoil that anybody else would have probably walked away from. But he knew what God had called him to do. You have to know what God has called you to do. And just because you were in a desert doesn't mean you stay there. The Bible never says Jesus stayed in the desert or the wilderness. It says he went there for 40 days. And he went there on occasion to hear the voice of his Father. The desert's over for this church. You don't have to stay in the desert. Glory. Come on, give him some praise because it's over. It's time to start walking out of this desert. So, in doing that, and in closing, to walk out of the desert, you've got to make changes. You can't expect to stay here.
Come on, preach.
And then go there. It doesn't work. If here is the desert and here is new, you can't show up at 10:30 every week. You got to show up at 10 o'clock, 15 minutes early. Come on. In the new season, in a building season, you're here early. I talked about the joy of the Lord the other night. We laughed good. We laughed real good.
Yes.
Here's where you need to be, with a cheerful smile and ready to greet, because it's not just the same people you see every week that are going to be here. It's going to be new faces.
Yes.
And if you have a frown on your face, they're going to run out the door and never come back.
Yes. Amen.
So this season here is over. This season here is new. New Lifepointe. Even the name of your ministry. Even the name of your ministry. It's New Lifepointe.
Yes.
That's newness. That's what God wants to do. And it's taken a time. Don't be upset when some go. Some will go. It's okay. Don't love them, bless them, and release them. Make sure they go in the right way. Teach them the right way to go. But bless them and release them. It's not a season to hold on to people. If they're not here and they're not with you 100%, then they're only holding you back. Wow. I talk about boat anchors all the time. What does a boat anchor do? It holds a boat down, right? You don't need boat anchors in here. The anchor needs to be pulled up. Pastors pulled up the anchor. We pulled it up this week in revival. God just showed up. I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if you expected what took place. I expected it, but we prayed and prayed and prayed to see what God was going to do here. I came in Wednesday night not expecting to see what I saw. I came in Thursday night not even expecting to see what God was going to do. And what God did Thursday night, I couldn't stop talking about since Thursday. It's time for newness. It's time for a new season. Make sure that you're not holding on to the past. Make sure your house is clean. Make sure that there's no unforgiveness in your heart toward anybody in here or anybody outside of here. Clean the house. Forgive them.
Yes.
Go home. Some of you are sitting there going, I need to go home and actually physically clean my house today. I haven't done it in a while. Guess what? It's okay. It's good. Cleaning is good. You know what happens? You find the stuff that has been misplaced. And some of that stuff needs to go in a trash bag and in the dumpster. It doesn't need to go with you. My mom moved from one house to another. My mom does not like to throw things out. She's had stuff for 40 years since the previous 2 moves. The last time she moved, she lived in the same house for 25 years. She had stuff from the previous house and the previous house before that. She collected 47 trash bags. She had to pay a fee at the dump of like $250 to get rid of her garbage. Wow. She had to pay a shredding company about $700 to come out and shred documents from 30 years ago. Guess what? Some of us need to do the same thing. Some of us